Airline Toastmasters and Airline Bavaria. She's held a number of high-profile leadership positions within Toastmasters and has attained the Distinguished Toastmaster designation, the highest level of education achievement in the organization. She says, growth in confidence is the biggest single benefit to be gained from Toastmasters. By establishing and extending their competence in all forms of communication and leadership, members are able to make positive impact throughout all aspects of their lives. As an officer of the Toastmasters International Board of Directors, Mathieson is a working ambassador for the organization. Today, she is our test speaker, presenting on Portobello Beach, Morag Mathieson.
My fellow Toastmasters and guests, when you think of the word or hear the word beach, what comes into your mind? Maybe it's sunny days or the golden sand tickling your toes, the laughter of people splashing in a warm ocean. When you heard the reference to Portobello in the speech title, maybe you're beginning to think about a large dark mushroom that's noted for its meaty texture. Well, despite its exotic sounding name, Portobello Beach has nothing to do with mushrooms and very little to do with warm sunny days. It is a coastal suburb of Edinburgh in Scotland. If you had visited Portobello Beach in the 12th century, you would have found a very quiet, pastoral scene where monks grazed their cattle, traditional Scottish varieties of cattle with brown or brown and white marbled coats. If you were later and it was the 18th century, you would have encountered the colourful yet shady haunt of sailors and smugglers, a loud, raucous world of nights filled with carousing and cajoling and days filled with trading and treachery. If you were later in arriving, you would have seen a long promenade had been built, stretching out to sea with a fun fair that had the smell of burnt candy in the air and the ding, ding, ding of prizes being won. It had become a destination holiday resort. Families with young children would fill the beach in summer, tartan picnic rugs housing groups of all ages, eating sandwiches and cake. The scent of cheese or maybe eggs wafting through the air, mingling with that sweet aroma of fruit juice or fizzy drinks. Young lovers could be seen walking hand in hand on the promenade as the sun set and ships left port for distant lands. Old lovers could be seen cozying together on benches, eating fish and chips from the wrapper, savouring each mouthful as they savoured their memories. If you go to Portobello Beach today, there are no cattle, no smugglers, no fun fair. There's just the beach and the promenade in a commuter suburb. I've walked along Portobello Beach only twice in my life. The first time, I was 20 years old. It was November 5th and late in the evening. I was on a first date with my now husband. November 5th is bonfire night in the UK, when we have large bonfires and we set off fireworks. David and I walked hand in hand on the beach in the chill night air. Around us, we could still see the glow of those bonfires. And every few minutes, the sky lit up, green, gold, red. We heard the whooshes and the gasps of delight from an invisible audience enjoying the fireworks. We heard the waves lap gently on the shore, but we knew it was way too cold to step into the icy waters of a November night in the North Sea. My date drew me close to him. The cold was forgotten. The fireworks were unnoticed. The waves and the audience were silent. In that embrace were unspoken promises. I knew Portobello Beach would be just the beginning of a lifelong journey. My second and last visit to the beach was 7 years ago in winter. There were no fireworks, no bonfires. There was not a living soul on the sand. There was just that same bitterly cold easterly wind and a sky full of heavy grey clouds. I walked along the promenade with my friend Mandy. Mandy walked the promenade every day whenever she could. Didn't matter what the weather was like. She'd had brain surgery to remove a tumour, and she believed that it helped her recovery to have fresh air and exercise every day. Our mouths could barely open because of the cold, and with frozen lips, we managed only a few words between us and a few smiles before we reached for the warm cafe alongside to have some lunch. With the taste of fresh seafood on our tongues, we chatted until Mandy felt tired and it was time to say goodbye. That final embrace was full of hope for a brighter future, a future that never came, and the unspoken promises of friends. Over the centuries, Portobello Beach has seen people in all stages of life. It has featured at the beginning, the middle, and the end of many people's stories. It's still not the beach of dreams, full of sunny days, golden sand in your toes, or the laughter of people splashing in a warm ocean. But you know what? I don't mind that, because for me, it will always be the place of icy walks, the place of unspoken promises, and a special place of firsts and lasts. Mr. Toastmaster.
Wonderfully done speech. Obviously, you have practiced speaking very much throughout your time in Toastmasters. I want to start by asking the question that we should always ask. Why did you first become a Toastmaster?
I first became a Toastmaster because someone asked me to. It's really as simple as that. So I first heard of Toastmasters when I was living in the UK and I was an MBA student, and Toastmasters actually came to our university to present to us because MBA students do lots of presentations. So we're a great audience for Toastmasters. And I thought, oh, this is a really super idea. But there were no clubs anywhere near where I was living and working at the time. So I thought, well, nice idea. Not for me at this point. And then when I moved to Germany, a colleague of my husband said, we have this new group. They're really nice people who speak English. And if you come on Wednesday, you'll get to hear me give a speech. And I went on Wednesday and I was hooked from the beginning. So I joke that because someone asked me, but actually that's true.
That's wonderful. And I would be silly not to point out, because we have a lot of guests not from District 26 today, my shirt. It has surfboards all over it, and that is our district motto this year. It's Surfs Up, because if you're in an area where you can surf, unlike Colorado or Germany, when you surf, to catch the wave, you have to see it building and you start paddling before it gets to you. And what you just said is encouragement to everybody here, whether you're a Toastmaster or a guest, invite someone. That is a great way to start paddling and build this wave. So thank you for that. I think many people in the room are curious, because you are international president-elect. Congratulations, by the way. Can you describe what your journey to this position looked like?
I was one of those hidden leaders in the organization for a while. Leadership kept finding me rather than me finding it, as happens sometimes. And I served in my club and then eventually in my district. My district at that point was District 59, which then was 18 countries in continental Europe. So it was a huge district at that stage. And that's an important stage on the journey, that district leadership piece. To be international president, you have to have led a district. We were successful as a district. We were actually the #1 district in the world that year. I don't claim full credit for that because I could only build on what was already there. So it was very much building on the shoulders of giants and having an incredible team. A team of my district leadership team, I think, was 81 people that year because it was a big district. So we had a lot of people who worked incredibly hard and celebrated well, I think we have to say. For me, that journey was also, I served as region advisor in the old Region 11, which was North Pole to South Pole, Europe, the Middle East and Africa. And that's where I first met Verity Price when I visited her home district on a district visit. And we've met a few times since then, which has been really special. For me, after that, I also served as international director from Region 11 in 2017 to 19, and then working through from second vice president first to now being president-elect. And it comes round so quickly. That's what I can't believe, that it's less than a year to go until I'll have that huge honour of being our international president. It's really quite a scary thought.
I am nowhere near your level, and I'm still scared sometimes to do some of the things that are necessary, but it is such a tremendous learning experience, and it is so much fun. The people we meet, the networking opportunities, and just the skill set that elevate us from one stage to the next. So thank you for continuing to serve, and for many years to come, maybe in 2 years, not so much as an official capacity. Who has been your strongest mentor and encourager over the years?
Oh, I've had all different kinds of mentors and different encouragers along the way, I'd have to say. There are some that stick out for me. One of them is a gentleman who is called Horst, who was a member of my home club when I first joined. And I used to do this really crazy thing with my feet. I won't describe it to you in case you start to do it too. But I used to do this crazy thing with my feet, and he would write in my feedback in club meetings, he would write a little note about you're doing the foot thing again and how to improve it. And I got involved in competitions. I won't tell you that story, it's a bit of craziness, but anyway, I was competing in table topics and I'd won both club and area, and I was due to go to division. And my club meeting, just before I was due to go, they decided that they would have double table topic session and I would have to answer every single question. And he had been providing me with this constant feedback of, this is what you know what you need to do, Morag, this is what you need to do. And that night he wrote me a feedback note that just said, you've nailed it, and I know you're going to be awesome. And had I really nailed it at that point? Yeah, I was getting pretty close, but it was that encouragement from him that meant so much. So when I went to division on that Saturday and stood on that stage, I wasn't having to think about what am I doing with my feet today, because Horst said it was good. So if Horst said it was good, it must be good.
I love how certain people stand out to us and give us what we need in the moments of encouragement. One of the biggest influences since I've joined District 26 is in the room, and I'm not going to embarrass that person today, but I think you probably know who you are. Thank you, because you've helped me through some incredibly difficult situations. I don't know how we're doing on time. I think we've got another minute or so, but one last question, or something that I'd like you to give to the audience today. What's one bit of encouragement that you would give to every member in the organization?
I would say to you, from my experience, that even when you don't see it, you're growing. So stick with it, because you never know when that moment's going to come, when you have the realization that you stand on that stage, you are in that meeting, you are with those people, and suddenly you can do what you struggled to do, or you have the confidence to face a situation and you think, the me of a year ago couldn't have done that. And I think our program does that. In some ways, our program kind of creeps up on us and we don't see it happening. So even when you think, if you think, oh, I'm not growing anymore, I bet you are really. You've got to stick with it, because that's what makes the difference.
Wow. Thank you so much, Morag, for being here with us today and for commemorating 98 years of Toastmasters. What an absolutely fantastic opportunity to have you with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thing out. I also want to go ahead and thank some of my club members today. I want to thank Jill for being our timer, and Linda for our Sergeant at Arms, and AJ taking care of everything behind the scenes, helping to set everything up, Prince as well. Also want to thank all of our evaluators. Gosh, and this could be a real challenge, and you all showed up and put in and learned to grow, and appreciate your willingness, your courage to do that. JP, thank you so much for allowing us to do this with the district. Really appreciate everything that you and the tree are doing today. Morag, thank you for being here as well. It is always an honor and a privilege to have folks from international who come to the clubs and to interact with us, to help us learn, to help us grow, and to help us be inspired. And Verity, thank you for taking us on your journey as well, because this has been a fantastic hour and a half actually. And this is something that we always try to do in peak performance. We try to challenge ourselves. I'm feeling challenged right now, but being able to take that chance to learn, to grow, to elevate ourselves, to take ourselves to the peak. Now, Jill is one of our newest members. And Jill, what have you gotten back from peak performance that has really helped you grow and learn?
Very quickly, I'd like to say it is so easy in this world to live within a bubble. Even though we have access to the internet and access to the world, it's easy to live in this bubble where you're in this constant loop of hearing the same message. By joining this particular club, you get to hear voices from outside of your bubble. This is what I've gained the most, and I am grateful for being here.
Thanks, Jill. Now, that's one of the things that we do at Peak, is that we really want to practice that feedback. We want to be able to give back to our members and the community. And I want to invite everyone here to come to our next meeting, which is going to be on the 12th of November. The website should be linked to there. And I think we may have a speaking spot or two open. So if anybody wants to come to Peak and practice a longer speech, or just get a lot of feedback from a number of folks, because we don't just simply have one evaluator. We have a lead coach, and we have multiple voices to give you additional feedback so that you can really hear from a number of really strong evaluators, a couple of whom you've heard today. So I encourage all of you to come to Peak Performance. Feel free to reach out to us. We're very happy. We're here to help. We've helped a number of people with coaching sessions as they're preparing for their contest, and we would love to help you. Now, this is not the last thing that is involved in the celebration of 98th year of Toastmasters. There is another event happening in about 3 hours, I believe, a hybrid live event from California. I hope that all of you can go and join that particular event too. And again, thank you to everyone who came and participated, who did things behind the scenes that none of us were able to see your efforts, but we do fully appreciate it. And most of all, we appreciate Morag, Verity. Thank you for coming to this Peak Performance meeting today. Thank you so very much.
JP Bachman, could you please close us out? District Director from District 26, JP Bachman, over to you.
Absolutely. Thank you, everybody, so much. Our deep gratitude goes out to International President-elect Mathieson and World Champion of Public Speaking Price. The fact that you joined us at this late hour for your time zones to join us and give us such valuable information. To all of our evaluators today, wonderful evaluations. Thank you so much. And to Peak Performance for everything that you've done to set this up, from the virtual backgrounds to the way the agenda was laid out, to communicating this to everybody, and to allowing District 26 to help you advertise this. This was such a wonderfully crafted event. Thank you to everybody who put in work behind the scenes for this. And I wouldn't be right to not emphasize what Alex said. Please join Peak Performance in their next meeting. There are many virtual clubs. Peak Performance obviously is doing fantastic work. So please join another club, because it will enrich you that much further, and it will expand your bubble, your network, the number of people who you can call friend. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful weekend. And to those in India, happy Diwali.